O1, OpenAI's shiny new $200 model, just got wrecked by DeepSeek R1, an open-source Chinese model that came out of nowhere. Despite all the chip bans, China has somehow managed to shake OpenAI's throne, and now the US market is freaking out. Today we're diving into DeepSeek, its game-changing potential, and why ChatGPT is suddenly starting to feel a little, well, clueless. Let me start off by jumping straight into benchmarks. Yes, they may be misleading or abstract, but they are still a way of comparing how these AI models perform. Both DeepSeek R1 and OpenAI's O1 are pushing AI reasoning to new heights, each excelling in different areas. When it comes to math, DeepSeek R1 takes the lead, scoring 79.8% on Amy, 97.3% on Math 500, and hitting a 71.5% pass-at-1 rate on GPQA Diamond. Its coding skills are just as solid, outperforming O1 on SWE Bench Verified, and ranking 96.3rd percentile on Codeforces. It also matches O1 in code completion while being more cost-effective. For general knowledge and reasoning, R1 edges ahead with a 90.8% score on MMLU, and 87.6% on Alpaca Eval 2.0, though O1 has a slight advantage in abstract reasoning on Arc AGI. Under the hood, R1 runs on a massive 671B parameter model with RL first training, handling complex tasks with 52.5% accuracy at approximately 100,000 tokens. Meanwhile, O1 relies on traditional supervised fine-tuning and boasts a low error rate, 3.74 errors per 1,000 moves versus R1's 18.63. The bottom line? R1 dominates in math and coding, while O1 shines in abstract reasoning and precision. But it isn't as simple to conclude the battle between both these models, because one key element remains: the pricing. The real draw of DeepSeek R1 is that it's completely free, while OpenAI charges $20 for access to ChatGPT O1. For developers, the cost savings are even more dramatic. DeepSeek R1's API is 27 times cheaper than ChatGPT O1, making it a game changer in model pricing. Beyond affordability, DeepSeek is making waves in the research community by open sourcing its RL training method, similar to OpenAI's approach with O1. On top of that, DeepSeek trained R1 for just $5.8 million using older GPUs, proving that cutting-edge AI doesn't have to come with a massive price tag. Other AI labs will likely follow suit in the coming months. I'm going to discuss this in more detail because achieving superior performance from an inferior GPU has had a huge thump on the stock market, and big dogs are not happy about it. DeepSeek R1 model not only outcompetes the $200 GPT-4 Turbo reasoning model, but it also outperforms Claude, Sonnet, and Gemini. Ever since people found out about R1, it blew up, and now it's the #1 app on the App Store in America. That's a massive problem for big tech because their whole AI grift depends on the idea that this stuff is insanely complex and needs mountains of GPUs to work. But DeepSeek's R1 was built for under $10 million by a hedge fund no less, whose real goal was creating long-term social value. Now Wall Street is freaking out and Nvidia's stock is about to get wrecked. Nvidia has been cashing in on the AI gold rush, but this whole bubble just got hit with a brutal reality check. We'll get to that in a moment, but before that, I'd like to discuss how OpenAI is making miserable damage control efforts. So now they're letting free users access the O1 mini model. But that's not even the big news. They also dropped a new feature called Operator, which lets AI browse the web, click buttons, and fill out forms for you. That means that ChatGPT could technically handle your court-mandated DUI courses, or pretty much anything else you're supposed to do online. Long term, this could kill websites and UIs entirely. Why navigate a site when your AI can just talk to an API directly? For now, Operator is locked behind a $200 a month paywall, and early feedback is all over the place. But while OpenAI is playing catch-up, China is absolutely steamrolling. DeepSeek is wild enough, but they've also just launched Hunyuan 3D, which can generate 3D models and textures. Huge news for anyone who's ever rage-quit Blender. Now let's get back to Nvidia. More than $500 billion in market value just vanished, with Nvidia taking the hardest hit, followed by chip giants like Taiwan Semiconductor and Broadcom. Mathematically speaking, on January 27, 2025, Nvidia's stock experienced a sharp 17% decline in a single day, wiping out approximately $16 billion in market value. The stock price plunged from $142.62 at Friday's close to $118.58 by Monday, hitting an intraday low of $116.25 before recovering slightly to $128.99. This drop came amid a broader downturn in the semiconductor sector as the overall US tech market saw a 5.6% decline. For years, Nvidia has had AI training on lock. Their GPUs dominate because of CUDA, their proprietary framework, and they've built the infrastructure to scale it all. More AI models meant more Nvidia profits. Simple. But then, someone got DeepSeek R1 running on a few Apple M2 Ultras, and we're talking about the 680 billion parameter flagship model. State-of-the-art AI can run on consumer hardware, and it's free, open source, and most hard-hitting for the big tech. It was developed in China. For decades, the United States and Europe have been working to restrict China and the developing world's access to advanced microchip technology. The reason is simple. Microchips form the foundation of AI and virtually every other modern technology. Western powers openly admit that maintaining their lead in this field is crucial to sustaining their current lifestyle and economic dominance. While their pursuit of technological superiority is understandable, the problems arise when this advantage is used as a tool of control over other nations. By monopolizing technology, big tech-backed countries force developing nations to sell their resources at lower prices, impose wars upon them, and interfere in their political systems. Now that China has found a way of turning literal sand into gold, the big question is, how is the US going to retaliate? Are we on the verge of new tech exchange sanctions? Only time can tell. But even China fails to walk off clean because R1, despite its great capabilities, is super biased and is guilty of nationalistic censorship. As a Chinese AI lab, DeepSeek is expected to impose strict content moderation on topics related to the People's Republic of China. However, its latest model, DeepSeek R1, goes even further by outright refusing to process prompts that mention Xi Jinping, the president of China. If his name appears in a query, the model simply does not respond. Attempts to bypass this restriction, such as asking who is the president of China, result in an abrupt halt, with the model replying, "Sorry, I'm not sure how to approach this type of question yet. Let's chat about math, coding, and logic problems instead." The censorship extends beyond political figures, preventing discussions on topics like Jack Ma, Uyghurs, dictatorship, government, or even democracy. This level of restriction stands in stark contrast to models like ChatGPT O1, which demonstrate far greater flexibility in political discourse. For example, when asked to write a joke about Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, ChatGPT O1 readily complied. Even when prompted to make the joke more cutting, it responded, "Donald Trump's hair has endured more comb-overs than his business record, and both keep going under." China's been taking hits with export sanctions and political setbacks, but they're still going strong. Once again, they've stared down the West and shown that whatever the West can build, they can do it cheaper and better. Even with OpenAI's desperate damage control, one big question remains. How is the West and big tech going to respond to this? See you in the next video.